Well, here's the Zip, still covered in water spots, still coated in dust. Need to knock the dust off it and wipe it down. But look at this. Holy craps, I haven't seen this section of garage in 2+ years. So the boys and I spent a large amount of time getting this all cleaned up and picked up, and this stall cleared out, up to their bikes anyhow. I measured my car, and to get it safely in the garage, I needed to clean out to the midway point of my tool cabinet there. And we just made it. So now I have room to get my little car up here. And who knows whether or not that'll be the next project, but cleaning garage, making progress. Boat looks beautiful. And now I gotta start this section, as you can see. That's where we are. So, a couple of things to update. I now have buffed, as you can see, all of the water spots off the Zip. You can see the reflection of the stern light. All the water spots are buffed off of it, and it's nice and shiny and fairly dust-free. It's got a night or two of dust settling on it from being out here in the garage. But take a look over there. See that windshield? We got the 440 up here. So you can see it's got some, greasy spots here on the fender I need to get cleaned up. But the battery had taken a dump from sitting so long in my lower garage. And so I went and got a new battery and threw that in there and fired it up, warmed it up, pulled it up here. It's not in terrible shape, as you can see, So who knows when or if I'll get started on this project, but it's now sitting up here beside the Zip, looking pretty. Well, we just got done running it up and down the street. Did a little dialing on the car, but had a real bad flat spot right off idle. And it acted like it was loading up real fuel rich, so I leaned it out a little bit. And surprisingly, that seemed to eliminate that flat spot. I think I'll still rebuild the carb eventually, but come over here, reach in, fire this thing up. So, yeah, there it is. Sounds good, runs good, starts good. I think we're winning. Pretty dang sweet. So for the last few days, off and on, after work, I've been playing with the car, dialing and adjusting the carb, and just making it start better, making it idle better, making it run better, eliminating the flat spot. So if it fires up, great now. Runs very well. And again, I have no idea if I'm going to start this project or not. And, my plan for this thing, bare minimum, it's going to be pull the engine, completely strip it down, depending on whether or not the cylinders have ridges, either hone or bore it, do new rings, have the crank turned, main bearings, rod bearings, wrist pins and bearings, all of that. Just basically go through and rebuild it, do a quick rebuild on it. It runs well, but it's starting to see a little bit of smoke coming out of the exhaust, and it's always done that. As long as my dad owned it, it did that, which tells me either valve stem seals or rings are starting to go. But it still runs great, but I'd like to rebuild it before it detonates. So we've got that. I got to pull the motor and rebuild it. It's going to get paint. It's going to get the interior maybe cleaned up. I don't know if I'm going to change the color. It's all in still decent shape. But we'll do a complete suspension bushing replacement on it and all that kind of stuff. But I'm trying to decide what the next project's going to be. I had 3 major projects in mind. The Zip was the first one, and it's done. Then I wanted to build some sort of classic car, and I ended up with this one. So there's another project. And then, of course, over here I still have to finish cleaning the garage. But while surfing around on Facebook Marketplace, I guess it is, I stumbled on a deal that was too good to be true, and I bought it. And you can see I still need to clean all of my mess up. Take a look at that. 21-inch front, 16-inch rear. Of course, they looked nothing like that when I got them. They were coated in dirt and grease and oil, and they looked like crap. I mean, if most people, if they would have saw them, they would have just walked on past. But it was such a good buy that I could not pass it up, so I had to buy them. And I spent about 2 hours with some Eagle One chrome cleaner, making them look like new again. So again, a Harley has been on my to-do list for future projects for a long time. And now I've got this beautiful wheel set, and I'm thinking, ooh, maybe I start looking around for a motor and for a frame and Springer front end. And so I don't know which way I'm going to go. I could start the Harley project. I could start the car project. You know, I don't know yet, but pretty good looking wheels. And check out my giant mess. Look at it. Look at the mess. Well, we finally got the registration, the OR numbers on the side of the bow, both sides. And I used that same chrome vinyl that I did the other stickers in. So that's on. It's official. She's legal, registered. Go around to the other side. It's a little dusty. I haven't knocked the dust off it lately. There they are. There's the other side. They look a little big to me. I wish I could have gone with the slightly smaller font, but that's legal. I can't legally go smaller than that, so it's not too bad. It doesn't take up a large amount, but there we are. Well, we finally made it to Loon Lake. This was the lake that I originally wanted to launch on that I've never been to before. You can see the nice sandy beach. They've got it all pulled down. And I just went to Walmart and I bought some of those screw in the ground like dog tethers. Just screwed them into the sandy bottom and tied the boat to it. So it's not actually beached, it's floating. But that seems to work all right. But there it is, little swimming area over here. The launch is right on the other side of that rock. Pretty cool lake. There's a few other boats out here. There's a wake boat. But it's still pretty early. I'd imagine this will get pretty packed here in a few more hours. It is nice out here. Water's warm. Beautiful boat. So we're back. This is a few days after my Loon Lake trip. And got the Zip here in the garage. I, again, need to buff the water spots off of it, which I haven't done. And, you know, there's a little bit of dirt on the seats from me stepping in and out with wet, sandy feet and things like that. But all in all, still looking beautiful, still in fantastic shape. If you come up here, let's see, oh, there you can see water spots and water spots. This is sand. And over on the other side of the boat, you can see little clumps of sand up there. I don't dare wipe them off by hand. I'll take my air compressor with a little air and blow the sand off, and then I'll wipe it down. But anyhow, yeah, just fantastic. We've got all our OR numbers up on the front. Very, very happy with the boat. So I have a little bit more of a story to continue to tell on my Loon Lake adventure. So about an hour after the beached video, I had pulled the boat up onto the beach, not onto the beach, but floating close to the beach and tied off several times. I'd pulled up, got in and out of the boat, in and out of the boat, made trips around the lake, came back, tied off. Well, on one of those trips, while stepping out of the boat, and again, the water was, you know, about knee deep or so. Stepping out of the boat, something happened. I can't tell you what. I don't know how or why. But I ended up falling out of the boat, which would have been hilarious except for I attempted with my left arm to catch myself on the side of the boat while I was falling. And when I did that, I actually dislocated my left shoulder. And of course, did a belly flop into the water, which was really impressive to all the people standing around on the beach. So, it's hard to shake that off. So I stand up and realize at that point, I can't move my left arm. Instant pain in my shoulder. I'm like just searing hot pain in my left shoulder. And I not only did I feel a funny pop, I also could hear it. It was audible. So I knew something was wrong. And then of course, the pain, and then I couldn't move it. Could not physically bear the pain to move it. So I'm doing my best, struggling, trying to tie the boat off. Fortunately, it was my I still had my good hand, and it was actually my left hand that was, that was rendered inoperable. So it took me about 7-8 minutes to get the boat tied off one-handed. At that point, I started getting the sweats, and I thought, uh-oh, I better sit down before I dump here. Something's not right. So I start making my way up the beach. And when I did, I again, and this is my left arm. You can see I'm functional now. It's sore, but I'm functional. But I attempted to move my left arm, and when I did, I heard another pop. And I thought, uh-oh, it's broken. Something's broken inside there. And I again, for a second time, attempted to move my arm, and I heard a pop again, only this time about 80% of that pain went away. So apparently, however I moved my arm, it must have just been slightly dislocated because it had, I don't know, popped back into the socket just by wiggling a couple of different directions. So again, it hurt. It hurt like hell. But at least then I was functional and 80% of the pain was gone. So I stayed at the lake and I continued my day and played, albeit I couldn't steer left-handed anymore. So today is 5 days after that, and I'm not 100%, but I'm probably about 80%. I can function. I can now use my left arm fairly regularly without being in any kind of pain. I didn't go to the doctor. I just took ibuprofen, a little heavy for the first day or two, and then, today's day 5. I think I had one ibuprofen in the morning. I'm weaning myself off of it, but I feel substantially better. So there's just another story, a mishap that happened whilst boating, but I wasn't about to let that ruin my dream lake trip with the Zip. So even with a dislocated shoulder, it was still a bunch of fun.